Hello! Welcome to another episode of Mega Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, and today we're talking about Dragon Ball Super Chapter 86. It is called All Out Bout. I guess nobody's been taking it seriously. No one's been going all out this whole arc so far. I have so many thoughts on this chapter, and we'll dive right into it. But again, I am Jason Hahn. I'm a writer for ScreenRant.com. I happen to write a lot of video game related stuff, previews, news, and such. But I'm a huge manga fan, so I decided to start the Mega Manga Mondays podcast. And I've got a couple buddies with me who are excited to talk about Dragon Ball Super as well. I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Steven, how you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going? My name is Steven. Been writing for the comic section for a while now. Losing track of time. It goes by so quickly because Screen Rant's a lot of fun. But mostly I write about manga, a lot of Shonen Jump titles. I'm trying to getting back to more manhwa. I know I did a pitch for that earlier this morning, so trying to get back into the more obscure titles. But yeah, I'm mostly writing about Shonen Jump and also Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. But yeah, excited to talk about some Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Spencer with us today. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I'm Spencer. Same deal, comic section, screenrant.com. Writing with for them for a bit with them. And yeah, super excited about this latest chapter. Right now, I've been doing a lot of pitches on the older Dragon Ball, like going back to the original stuff. So I'm really
I've been seeing those and they're awesome. I'm really appreciating those. I'm loving everything you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a lot of fun digging into that older stuff, especially you see the chapter 1 through 20 or whatever, and then you can take what they're doing and you're like, okay, well I'm currently reading Dragon Ball Super, which is years later. And so you can kind of relate it even to different stuff throughout Dragon Ball Z, in that era of the Dragon Ball manga, and then the newest stuff, Dragon Ball Super. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun going back to its origins, kind of doing that same thing with like different like Marvel, DC comics, just going all the way back to the very beginning, and just kind of relating it to today and see what pops up. There's actually a lot of stuff there. So it's been a lot of fun digging in the past like that.
Oh, very cool, man. Well, yeah, kind of keep it in the back burner for you, but at the end of our podcast, we usually like to do some plugs and recommendations, but I would love it if you guys started like plugging articles that you've recently put out that you feel pretty proud of, that you think more people should check out. So, yeah, kind of think of that, and maybe throw a couple at us at the end. But Dragon Ball Chapter 86, we dive right back into the fight. I mean, this fight's been going on for a while, it feels like. I was reading some comments and someone's like, all right, well, too long didn't read. The last 50 chapters, they've been fighting gas. Or Chapter 86 of Dragon Ball Super. It hasn't been that long, but it feels that long, especially with monthly releases. But yeah, reading through this chapter, it feels like this could actually be the end of the fight. Everyone kind of pulled it out to get that final big hit, but I gotta be honest with you guys. I was really disappointed. Like I'm waiting for something surprising to happen. I guess everything just felt so formulaic here. Like,
wait, even the giant Goku monster chi thing?
Sasano Goku.
He said in biggin, and there he was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this chapter is taking all the best things from other series like Sasano and Spirit Gun. Like it just we already got this moment with Granola earlier. He defeated Gas, and then Gas got another BS power up and came back, and we just did that all over again. But I think Gas has been built up to be such a villain that even though he is the final panel is a tiny picture of him in a giant crater, I see him like getting up and not letting this be done until he's dead, because I think it just feels like too big of a hanging plot thread to have them escape and Gas to possibly come back. But that's all on speculation on what we think's going to happen next. Besides, I hate to say it, uncreative storytelling, my opinion. We had a lot of great action, some great panels and stuff. And honestly, this arc it's been pretty much nonstop action, in my opinion. Like, for me, if we go back to this entire arc, just thinking of some highlights and stuff, like Goku and Vegeta, like, fighting together a couple chapters ago, like, we've had some really cool moments, but it just feels like it's kind of been, like, rehashing the same thing over and over again. I think, guys, I think I'm ready for it to move on.
I mean, just to counter one thing,
Please.
and I haven't had a chance to write about it. I know I did a pitch, but a lot of things are going on in the comic section, so I'm still trying to wrap around the idea I wanted to do. I did one pitch. I'm like, they almost made Granola into the next Frieza, or it could be the next Frieza. But then I started rethinking it. It's like, actually, where we are right now with Granola, he could be how he's being treated now. If he's allowed to escape and nothing else happens to him, he would be the most different Dragon Ball villain.
Hold on. You said Granola. You mean Gas?
Granola. Sorry, Gas.
Okay.
Yeah, so Gas would be Gas would be the most different Dragon Ball villain since, like, in DBZ, not counting Dragon Ball earlier. Just because, so it was the whole thing about where villains, every single Dragon Ball Z villain has either like defected, gone to the good side, or they have been completely annihilated, like Cell, etc., Raditz, things like that. That said, I was like, well, because Frieza was allowed to survive, but again, Goku had originally meant to destroy Frieza that time on Namek, and it was just like perchance that he ended up surviving. And then there's also the whole thing as well where Trunks like slices up Frieza and actually sends him to hell and everything. So if where we are right now and Gas is allowed to live somehow, that will be the first time, at least since DBZ started, that we've had a villain like this. Because then I was starting to think before that, well, there is one exception for a while, because there was Dr. Gero, who was in Dragon Ball, but then again, he really wasn't a main bad guy who was actually fighting anyone. He was the guy building everything from behind the scenes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Spencer, since you're reading through it right now. But it's like my understanding that Dr. Gero's character, he was just like a scientist in the shadows, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely insidious. Like he wasn't a good guy. Like he was building that stuff for the purpose of taking over and doing harm, basically. But as far as he himself, nothing too crazy there. If I'm remembering correctly, I haven't gone back over that arc yet recently. In fact, the last time I looked into Dr. Gero, that era of Dragon Ball, was years ago, like pretty much when I was a kid. But if I'm remembering correctly, you pretty much nailed it.
Okay, cool. Because I did see one of your pitches, because you are writing about the Reddit Ribbon Army, but I'm guessing you haven't gotten to Dr. Gero yet.
If I remember correctly, they're a major part of the new movie coming out. So,
he did.
Dragon Ball superhero.
Oh,
yeah. Where I am now, the Red Ribbon Army, they're still it's still very, very early. And we're talking General Blue and things like that. But I definitely see where you're coming from. It could be a Oh yeah. But no, I definitely see where you're coming from with Gas. My personal view, at least what I'm hoping for, is kind of almost the opposite. Like, I'm kind of hoping that Gas, like, he lives and he turns on Alec. Like, he realizes Alec is really he's just been using him all this time. Like, I see good in Gas. I don't know why, but I feel like he's just kind of been led down this wrong path and been, forced into this position of insane power and being pointed at, different targets, like go kill them by Alec. So I really want to see Alec get what's coming to him. But honestly, throughout this arc, I've been kind of feeling a little bad for Gas. He's just taking it. It's just poor guy. Like, I don't know. Like, I never got a a feeling that he would himself was bad. Like if he had a better brother, mentor, whatever, he could have been something completely different. But because he was with Alec, the real villain, he was bad. And with the whole rapidly aging deal last chapter going into this chapter, because of that immense power, I was like, oh man, like because I think it was you, Jason, who said that a couple months ago. You're just like, yeah, he's good. Like that's basically going to happen. He's like, how Granola had to give up a huge portion of his life to get all this power. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what's happening to Gas, and that's what it seemed like when he rapidly aged like that. I don't know if they directly confirmed it. I can't remember the dialogue, but yeah.
I feel like the two like subordinates are like, "Oh no, what's happening to Gas? I hope he's okay." And Alec's just like, "Don't worry, he's still very powerful," and he just clearly doesn't give a crap about like Gas and his like surviving this bit. But kind of, I kind of agree with both of you guys. I think that it could be the end of the fight, and if they do like escape, I could totally see him eventually turning on Alec, or
he's gonna die if he survives. Yeah,
if he survives. But also, it's kind of giving us the chance to have the heaters go against Frieza. If Gas escapes here, then maybe we'll actually get Frieza versus Gas, which I'm very excited to see Frieza get absolutely devastated, but throughout this entire arc, I kind of agree. Now that we look back at everything that Gas has been going through, he's just spent this entire arc getting beat up. Like he got beat up by Bardock as a child, and he's literally gotten beaten up by all three of these people, and then he gets some new power up, and then bam, he's back at it again to get beaten up again. Like this guy is just the biggest punching bag.
Even more
Goku.
Than Vegeta.
I was gonna say Goku in this one too. Another thing that really bothered me about this chapter was like Gas is so ridiculously powerful. He's getting all these like huge hits on Goku. He's throwing energy wave blast consistently, and we're getting all these like reaction panels of Goku like, "Go! Oh, I'm getting hit. Oh, this sucks," and it just all ends, and everyone's okay. Everyone's still just holding each other in the shoulders and just like, "Oh boy, that was wild, haha!" Like, right. Oh man, it's just hard to feel like suspense when it feels like it just ends the same way every time. Like, kind of going back to like you were saying that Gas feels like a different villain since Z, and I would disagree. Like, I actually really liked Morrow. I thought that he was a really like, I enjoyed his villain arc and how.
Oh no, like I mean, like by different villain, by how he could survive, like basically how they're portraying him right now, because like not like who he is as a person, but how he's going to be treated, because like it's been like in regards to like like a formula of what happens to every single villain since Z. Like they're either destroyed completely or they defect and they join the Z Warriors type of thing. And like, cause since he hasn't been, cause like if he had just been destroyed here, like a massive beam overwhelming him, destroying him, it's like, oh, well, we've seen that before. But right now he's still alive. He isn't defeated. They're even saying it like he's still there. And it's like something different can happen from this. And also just want to like quickly say, like going back to something earlier, like about how Dragon Ball is bringing in all these different elements from different manga. Like for me, like from my perspective, I'm actually enjoying the heck out of it. Just because like even the whole thing with Granola's eye, like special eye, bringing the whole thing about like the Sharingan from Naruto, which or not even just Naruto, like just the eye powers being a really huge manga trope. And like before Super, like all of this stuff, I have always like been wanting so much for Dragon Ball to go into other manga like areas, just because every other manga borrows from each other. Like I haven't really found any manga that hasn't done that. and Dragon Ball was basically the only one that hadn't been doing that. Like, it basically, Dragon Ball created its own genre, basically, which, spawned all these, like, facsimiles and whatnot. But then it stayed within that formula, and it just became like a caricature of itself. And now we're seeing for the first time the manga actually taking inspiration from others. And for me at least, it's very refreshing, because, I mean, every other manga is doing that. Like, there is no such thing as, at least from my perspective, like originality. And it's cool seeing Dragon Ball doing that, just because it's already influenced so many series. It's great to see it being influenced by others now. But that's just my opinion.
You say manga's not having much originality, and the first thing that pops in my head is JoJo, which is just too original.
Oh, well, yeah, I couldn't say that, because, that's definitely, early 80s as well. So, I mean, that's a different, JoJo's another realm.
Yeah, right. That's a whole
that,
thing.
That is an exception right there. So I'd say anything that's been coming out since Dragon Ball. But yeah, not JoJo. Good point. Very good point.
Yeah, that's cool. That could be a good article. I'd click on that.
Yeah, there you go. But one thing I was kind of thinking back is how this whole arc started. Was how we finished the Morrow thing, but there was that hanging thread of that enemy who was able to take other people's powers and like use them.
Oh, yeah.
I forget that thing's name, but it like survived, and that's how we were introduced to Granola. Granola was like attacking the ship that vessel was on, and right. I don't remember if that vessel got destroyed or if we still have like a piece of Morrow's power still in play. But yeah, I'm very curious to see. As I said earlier, I'm very ready for the next arc or the next story bits to start happening. And I'm curious to see if they're going to do the Dragon Ball Super thing and just like, okay, well, we have a whole new arc that's unrelated to everything else we've been talking about. Or the last couple arcs, I think, have done a really good job of like kind of bleeding into each other. So, but it kind of gives me the impression, I still think Gas is going to get up. But I mean, I think last chapter their ship got destroyed, so like they have no easy way out of here unless Gas can instant teleport them out of there. Because I would be really surprised if Granola lets Alec and everybody just go after this.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have no idea where it can go from here. All I know is that I do not want Gas to keep on fighting and to get him be destroyed. Like that would be so. And wait. Oh, hold on really quick. Have you read the latest My Hero?
Not the fan sub one.
Okay, so never mind. I was about to do a spoiler. Okay.
If you're a My Hero Academia fan, check out Mega Manga Mondays, because we'll have a new podcast for the new chapter as well. So, but yeah, I haven't read that yet. I was so excited to read One Piece in this. I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. So I won't think so. I know we were having a conversation in the My Hero Academia podcast where, Bakugo is kind of in the same position where he could either be completely defeated right now or he could, do the plus ultra thing, as you were saying. And we're kind of in that same situation.
It's kind of their thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's that going on in My Hero, and then there's also this. And I want that formula to not keep on happening. Because like I was saying, like right now, Granola's at a very unique point, and if Gas continue doing the same thing, Gas, then it would be really upsetting. But that's just me.
Yeah. I was a little nervous just with Granola is like, Gas is still alive, which that's cool. But then he went on to say something along the lines of like, I'm done, like, living in the past or like fighting for revenge or whatever. And I was just like, no, man, you still got to fight Frieza.
Yes, please.
That's the whole point for this whole thing. I still want to see you fight Frieza. I really want Frieza to be involved in the next stage of this arc.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to end it right here, and Granola's going to give up his, fight for revenge, and the Heaters are probably going to be defeated by the Z Fighters. but we'll see. I from the very beginning of the story arc, I was excited because of that Frieza connection with as you said, the whole giant introduction to Granola as this space bounty hunter, awesome power, things like that. He has access to the Dragon Balls. Who is this guy? And then they started fighting it out, and now here we are. We're kind of at a pivotal moment. So it's interesting to see what happens next. You're absolutely right, because I don't know what's going to happen next, but I hope that it leans more towards Frieza. I just personally love Frieza, so that was exciting for me. And now I'm slowly realizing I might not get it. I'm like, oh no.
I mean, kind of like to build off of that. I mean, what I really love about this arc, even now, even though they've been fighting for forever, is that we have all these characters. Granola, not Guy, where Granola has this massive connection to the past, like the ancient Saiyans, which is what all Dragon Ball fans want more of. Like every single one who's been following this since as a kid, that's what they want more of. And again, like we got that in GT to some respect with Baby, except like he was kind of far removed from that, but like it was like the first time where we had a character, like a new character besides Frieza, who was connected directly to that past. Because like he was basically, I'm trying to remember, but he basically contained the vengeance and the will of one of the alien races that were destroyed by the Saiyans. So it gave that connection to that ancient past, which was awesome. But now this is taking it a step further with Granola. And that's why I've been loving this. Like, and I don't want, like, I can see, like, I want, like, this fight has been going on for a while, but I like want it to continue just because I don't want to lose that connection to that ancient time. But I guess one of them could be by going back with Frieza, which would be great. The only time I would be fine if they moved on is if we expanded upon the tournament arc and began exploring the other universes. That's the only time I would be fine with leaving the ancient Saiyan past.
That was something I think we've brought up. I know at least last podcast, maybe every podcast we talk about Dragon Ball Super, but we're really excited for Vegeta to go to New Planet Vegeta, or I forget if that's what the other Universal Saiyans call their planet.
I think they call it Plant, actually. Yeah, Planet Plant.
Planet Plant. You got to be kidding me. That is the worst name I've ever heard.
It's something weird. Wait, I'll look this up.
It might be vegetable. Yeah, because Kaba. Yeah, that would be pretty funny. I would like that more than plant.
That always cracks me up about Dragon Ball. It's so weird. Like, why? It's like it's just one of those quirky little things.
Oh yeah.
It's like they're named after like food.
Yeah. Or the Guinea Force. They're all dairy products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope the next series or the next batch of bad guys are all named after junk food. The fearsome Twinkie. We can't beat Twinkie.
That would be unironically said too. That's what's so great about it.
Vegeta.
Well, it's pretty crazy. We're on Planet Cereal right now. I think that's the most ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. Granola.
Yeah. I love it.
Boy. Yeah, it's goofy. Dragon Ball's always been goofy, and I think the thing we're consistently wanting is we like the goofiness, but it also has the capacity for such great like drama and serious storytelling, and we're always disappointed when it doesn't go there.
Right? It's Planet Sadala, by the way.
Sadala, okay.
So like salad. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Tis a silly show.
That's what's interesting about going back and reading the origins and stuff, because it's almost like it's like a funny, jokey manga with like light adventure, some fighting and action sequences and stuff. But it's almost like it accidentally evolved into this crazy like exploration into the like depths of godly power and just like insane in-depth characters and things like that, but also like it didn't mean to. It was just like, okay, what's the natural? So Goku is just going to keep like fighting and training. because they set it up. His first ever tournament is like there's always somebody who's going to be stronger than you that set the base for the rest of his life. With Roshi fighting in that tournament in disguise, and so it's almost like, okay, let's just keep building on top of that. But now they've built on top of that so much that they're they're channeling the power of the gods, and they're battling in tournaments that span across the multiverse, and like it's super cool, but it's definitely interesting when you look back and it's like like a little kid Goku and Bulma are hunting for Dragon Balls. Because Bulma wants to make a wish and have a boyfriend. Like, like
cut
super low level stuff.
Cut to Goku mastering Ultra Instinct and a universe forming under him. Like,
yes, like
in the anime. Yeah. Well, that's kind of the thing, is like the way you just described it is just like, oh man, Dragon Ball Super's awesome. But then like go back and watch it and read it, and the way that I feel like they've handled god powers is just like, it's just another power up. I don't feel like they've differentiated god power and ki power well enough. Like it all just kind of feels the same.
I think it's because they haven't really harnessed it yet fully.
That has to be it, because I'll definitely agree with especially in this latest story arc. Like it did feel like a god power in the Tournament of Power when Goku was just first tapping into Ultra Instinct, even just a little bit, because he hadn't even mastered it.
I would almost attribute that just to how well they built up Jiren, though. Like they built Jiren up just to be so powerful, so that when you finally see him like take damage, you're just like, oh man, they must have had to have been gods. And I still feel like even Gas. Sorry to cut you off. I'll finish this real quick. Just like comparing Boros. No, not Boros. This isn't One Punch Man. Moro and Gas. Like to me personally, Jiren was built up so big and so well that I still feel like he's more powerful than everything we've seen. Like that's why I liked Moro so much, was because he was different. Like he was absorbing all the energy around them, so even being around him was weakening you. At the end, he like combined with the planet, and we had never seen something like that before.
I hated that though.
Oh, I loved it. Like,
that was gnarly.
I thought that was cool, and then I didn't hate like when Goku first did Ultra Instinct Susanoo, or whatever we want to call the form. At first I was like, this is kind of weird, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it. And then here, it just kind of felt like, oh, we have to do it because we've established that it's a thing, and we have to have everything be as high stakes as possible. But this time, it just kind of felt there. Like, it didn't feel like it had to be there, really. And yeah, I'm excited for it to... This just felt like a very punch-fighty saga, compared to like the last one had punch fighting, sure, but it had like unique new powers we hadn't seen before. So I just didn't love it.
Well, it's like like how you brought up Morrow. I think I'll just say it just really quick.
Please.
I actually liked him, like how he was first introduced. I didn't like what he became like after he became like the Cell type of guy.
Yeah.
And then he went into the Earth, because like I like the idea of there being like this old decrepit guy who was powerful, and he still is, but he's having to rely on these magical powers because he doesn't have this insane amount of strength with him. That I love the heck out of that, and just that whole dynamic type of thing. It was kind of like what happened in the Lord Slug movie before he got, he got the wish to become forever useful or whatever. But then like once he got that wish, Moro, I mean, like that's when he turned into like one of those stereotypical big bads in Dragon Ball. So like, I wish that they had stayed with like him as the old decrepit guy who had to rely on magic rather than brute strength. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah, Moro was definitely interesting. But yeah, no, going back to the harnessing godly power and just how they're portraying it. I totally agree. It's this latest arc. I don't know. I just didn't buy, like you said, like I just didn't buy that Granola or Gas is like, or even Granola at first. But Granola and Gas, I guess, were just so powerful, especially after tournament power, Jiren. And then, when they're fighting Gas together, and then, that epic panel where it's just, Goku powers up Ultra Instinct, Vegeta powers up Ultra Ego. That was crazy epic. But then that just kind of, went nowhere. Like that seemed like one of those things where it's like, oh, like Gas is done. You know what I mean? Like that's it. But then, they just kind of fell off, and then Goku abandoned Ultra Instinct and was just like, I'm creating like my own form of this. And then that, that was last chapter, and then in this chapter that ended up being, really nothing. Like he created a big version of himself. Is what he could like do force fields now. I guess that's what his version of Ultra Instinct was. I don't know. It was very interesting, very weird. They so far just lately, I will say, they haven't done a really good job of keeping track of how powerful these godly powers are. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get a better explanation. Like, even if Weiss wants to come down and expo dump real quick, like whatever, right. I'll take it.
Oh yeah, I would love that. Like, I love when Weiss drops a bunch of info. So it's just like, that's all the stuff I crave. I want to know all the like godly knowledge about this universe, and that's one reason I liked Moro so much. Was like, he's a dark god that even the angels and everybody feared from millions of years ago, and he even destroyed like the Grand Kai, and you're like, yes, please give me more of that. And then we go to this one. It's just like, somebody wished on the Dragon Balls to be really strong. Oh, I guess we just have to hit them really hard.
I see, like how I saw it, like it's I don't know. I view it very differently, just because in the earlier. I saw it as like a fun evolution to how DBZ was originally, because like DBZ, it was all about, I want to become immortal. That was like the big thing that defined all of those characters. But you never had anyone actually make a wish, I want to be the strongest ever. And that was what was so cool here, because like we've gotten to the point in Dragon Ball where everyone is so ridiculously like stupid powerful that it doesn't make any sense that they keep on coming against these strong people. But now the Dragon Balls, it solves that dilemma that Toriyama wrote himself into a corner with, because how else can you explain how someone we've never heard of before is somehow stronger than Goku, and it's the Dragon Balls. And I thought that was so amazing, at least with both Gas and Granola. Just because, Granola first did, it's like, we have never seen that before in the Dragon Ball universe. Like, someone wishing to be the strongest was always like, I want to be immortal. And then we automatically see Gas. And like with Granola, we already saw, like, he becomes the strongest, but then we find out that there are these crazy side effects of it. So it's like, oh man, that's crazy. But then you have to get Gas, who's now making that same wish, which even raises the stakes even more. Like, so for me, it's like, whoa, like I'm still like, I feel like it's well written in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, there is that aspect. And before I get into that, hello, Carlyle. Glad you could make it, man.
Hi. Yes, just barely.
Hey.
Hello.
It's all good, man. We got Carlyle Edmundson, another Screen Rant writer. I think he had some stuff going on, but yeah, glad you could make it, man. We've just been having a good time talking about how we're over. I think Steven seemed to love the chapter. I was a little disappointed by it. And we got Spencer here too. And yeah, we just feel like this arc could have ended a little bit sharper. It just felt like very formulaic. And to kind of branch off of what you were just talking about, Steven, we got the one panel in this of Goku saying like, your powers in your body are totally out of sync. But that didn't really pay off, or that they didn't really show that. I think that might be kind of a relation to like your powers overflowing from your body. So that's how we're getting the Miss Marvel powers, essentially. Where
and also too, like at the beginning too, which I thought it was actually something earlier that you were saying, Spencer, how like before we were saying that we knew like he's older now, and so his powers are all crazy because it's making him older. But he actually the way that he talks about it, Gas. I mean, it's really interesting. He's talking about like his cells are like being burned, but it's like powering them up, which is so intense. Which is I related that to the whole thing. Your whole body's out of whack. I mean, it's like you're crazy powerful, but it's kind of having an adverse effect on you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes back to the roots of Dragon Ball, where it's you really have to train your body to withstand this much power, and that's why actually now that after what you said about the whole wish thing, it's like it's kind of cool because it is showing that opposite effect. So like you can be a good fighter and you wish to be super powerful, make yourself stronger than Goku, but your body can't necessarily take that because you haven't trained it up, and then that brings me back, as it often does, to was it Zamasu, and when with Goku Black, and when Vegeta is first fighting him, he's saying it was before he unlocked Super Saiyan Rose, and Vegeta is basically just like you have this body of a Saiyan, but you didn't work for it, you have no idea what it can do, because you just stole it, and that's kind of what that reminded me of going up against against Gas in this chapter, because he's getting burnt out because his body just isn't meant to hold this much power, and it's like getting older and everything like that. But I mean, if you think about it too, though, that's kind of what the dragon warned them about. It's like, this is going to take a big chunk of your life because I'm consolidating it all into you right now, with Gas and Granola. And so I guess now we're just seeing the effects of it in this chapter. So that does kind of elevate it a little bit for me, just because that is pretty interesting. Kind of staying true to that. That's always been present in Dragon Ball. But yeah, I think my only issue with this is just they can't seem to get a grip on how powerful Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct are. And unfortunately in this chapter it doesn't seem all that powerful.
Mm-hmm. Well, before I say something, Carlyle, what do you want to talk about since you just came on?
Yeah, man. What were your thoughts on this? Because we've been gabbing for a few minutes.
Yeah, these are similar thoughts to what I had for the most part. I think we're all glad that somebody other than Goku got to finish it off, and I think that the way that it happened wasn't the most exciting. You could definitely it did feel formulaic in that you could easily see any of the other arcs ending in a similar way, and it would still be like, yeah, that's what I expected.
Yeah.
I think the big thing really is just going to be what the fallout from all this is. Like, are the heaters going to take his warning and go away, or are they going to cause problems? We're definitely going to keep seeing them. I know they're not done, right. But are they going to be showing up in the context of Frieza or in the context of this granola thing?
Hopefully.
Or, yeah.
We all wanted to go to Frieza, and I mean, if Gas is truly done here, and he is knocked out for a couple days, instead of him coming up and being like, no, I refuse to leave here until one of us is dead. I mean, we're hoping he's knocked out, and then they somehow... I mean, Alec definitely deserves his up-and-comings, and Spencer had a great theory that, possibly Gas could turn on Alec and then either be a big problem or lead to another big problem after this, or he goes right for Frieza after this and Frieza knocks him out, because it would be kind of... I mean, imagine if Gas kills Frieza. Like, I think that would be underwhelming, because we all love Frieza so much, and we want to see what Frieza's impact on the universe is going to be, because ever since Tournament of Power, he's been building his forces back up, and we also have Broly in the picture, which I would love if we actually brought him into a saga,
a little saga with Broly in the manga would be nice.
Yeah, because I think he is also featured in the new movie coming out, which the new movie takes place all a couple years.
No,
after
don't.
all this stuff.
I've only watched the first trailer. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's in the first trailer.
Next
It's
one.
like a couple frames. But yeah, I won't ruin anything, and I've even seen snippets of new trailers that ruin too much, in my opinion. I won't go into all those, but yeah, I'm very curious to see. I think that we probably have another chapter or two of this arc to kind of close things out, but very curious to see. Earlier we were talking about how the last couple sagas or arcs have done a really good job bleeding into each other. So I'm hoping that something from this bleeds into the next one rather than them doing what they did for the first few chunks of Dragon Ball Super and just like, all right, starting a new arc, let's just forget everything we just did, and it's not really related kind of thing. Yeah, I totally agree, and I think we're all in agreement. Just they did such a good job of building up Jiren as a super powerful bad guy, and now it's just like, okay, well, how do we top that and still come up with interesting villains? And I do like the idea that, you know, these guys wished for strength and their bodies aren't quite used to it, and that was kind of the big theory we all had on how they were going to eventually defeat Gas, was they were going to burn him out. And especially while reading this chapter, that line of like, I feel like every one of my cells is on fire. I was like, yeah, that's you disintegrating because you are too powerful.
Yeah.
But that ended up not being the thing.
I think the wishing also it takes care of that problem of like, because anybody you introduce now, somebody's going to say, well, why didn't Beerus think of that guy when it was time for the Tournament of Power? Because they weren't that powerful then.
Right.
Yeah,
we still haven't gotten White
earlier,
Broly.
but I like the way that you articulated it more than I did. I like the.
I feel like you might have said that already, but
But you said it so much more awesomely.
Agreed. But yeah, especially with that, I was one of those people who was saying, "Oh, why didn't they get them for the Tournament of Power?" Broly, like they does Whis' like scanner just not work that well, or it was just I almost feel like that's a line they need to retcon, because it just they did. It's the same thing with the Jiren thing. Like, they made the Tournament of Power feel like the end all be all, especially, I mean, how do you get higher stakes than God's going to erase your universe? Like,
Yeah.
and I felt like them going to the negative energy god Morrow arc and all that was like a step in the right direction, and then I feel like this kind of went backwards a little bit. But the whole it is a good idea, like having the Dragon Balls cheat how you get power and stuff like that, but it just I feel like this arc could have been half the size it was. It could have been a smaller arc, just with how big the stakes have been consistently. So I'm almost waiting like for some big reveal or something that they did in this causes the next big thing, and hopefully it returns to those stakes of like angels and mortals and evil energy gods and stuff, because that's what I'm really excited about.
Definitely. Well, that kind of makes me think, with Frieza, what really has he been doing this whole time? What could be really interesting is if, they finally get to Frieza, whoever it is, because I would love it if Gas turned on Alec and then Gas joined Granola to go kill Frieza, because they all seem to be like, we got to get Frieza. But then once they get to him, Frieza, maybe with his armies, maybe they found, I don't know, some kind of crazy being that's, going to destroy the universe. Or maybe they found evidence of, other beings coming from other universes, with his, expansive forces out in the entire universe. He's able to pick up on something. I don't know. And then, that makes them abandon their fight with Frieza and then have to join forces, maybe even like a multiversal war kind of deal. Because I know there's a lot of talk about, like gods versus mortals. But what's interesting, especially coming out of the Tournament of Power, is all these other universes. Yeah, they've been aware of, the fact that there are other universes out there, but like they finally got a scope on all of their power. So, who knows? Maybe one wants to take over others. that could be a cool arc, and then that would elevate it back to the whole your entire universe is in danger, rather than just a 1v1 kind of battle like we've had here, which has been cool. I've enjoyed this arc. Again, my only complaint is just everything about the ultra ego and ultra instinct. That's really it. But no, I agree. I hope this kind of bleeds into another huge event, and I hope that huge event kind of starts with Frieza. I think that would be really interesting.
It almost feels like it has to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he got name dropped enough in this.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's the whole reason this happened, really.
Yeah.
With Granola, I mean, the only reason Granola did this is to get Frieza, and then then everything with the heaters went down, and of course he came across the Saiyans, and he hated the Saiyans at the time. But really, it was, I need to be as strong as possible because I need to go kill Frieza because Frieza's alive, and I just found out. So we need that payoff.
Well, yeah, and to kind of counter what you're going with, I kind of disagree on one of the things you said. Like, if I do think that Gas will turn on Alec because that's what they both deserve to do or to happen. But if him and Granola were to team up against Frieza, it would really make it so there's not really any difference between Gas and Granola's like character arcs.
That's true.
I feel like it would be kind of like lazy writing on their part because I mean then there wouldn't really be any difference between the two, especially if they're like working together. I see Gas as being the hothead who's just going to be, I mean, if he survives all this and he's able to recover, and if he still has 3 years left of life, which I doubt. I think that was something I brought up in a previous podcast, is I think Alec wanted him to be even stronger, so they may have condensed his life to be even shorter than Granola's. But I'd love the idea of Gas getting out of this and just being like a loose cannon in the universe, just rampaging. Like,
that'd be cool. After hopefully after destroying Alec and maybe even the heaters, and he's just kind of doing his thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like how the first Broly movie started. That's totally non-canon, but that's another thing, that this is before Beerus and gods and all that stuff, but they start that movie with the North universe just disappeared. We don't know what could have been so powerful that it destroyed the whole North universe. And that still is like, wow, that's pretty crazy. Like,
even absurd. Okay.
Yeah, even in that movie they never got to like, oh, Broly could destroy this whole planet with a punch, or this universe. Like, that was just a wild way to start that movie. But I think it'd be pretty interesting if Gas just turned into a loose cannon and he's just like, I just want to destroy as much as I can before my short lifespan runs out. And
is
so
exactly what I want. And I hope that Gas does that now, though. I don't want him to join Granola or betray Alec or anything.
Oh, okay.
Like, it just goes back to my earlier thing. We're at this turning point where Granola could do something that a villain has never done yet in Dragon Ball. Which
Granola
is
or Gas?
God, what did I say? Gas.
You said Granola.
Well,
Get
Gas.
you a sheet.
Yeah. Geez. Maybe because people start with G's. But yeah, where Gas could be, Gas can do anything that another villain has never done in Dragon Ball. Like, because either they are destroyed or they join the Z Ward.
Yeah.
And so it would be great to just see him go his own way, like survive this and still be alive in the universe and just be like, rah! But I feel like it would just go back to what Dragon Ball is, and a lot of other manga are doing, where the villain finds, like, they have a turn of, their heart changes and they're like, I'm gonna join you guys now. Like, we need to keep some villains as villains, like Frieza. Like, at this point, there's gonna be no more villains left. So at least that's what I hope. At least that's why I'm really excited about this chapter, is that we can either get something really awesome that we've never seen before in Dragon Ball, or it can just go back to what we've been seeing in this and other series.
Yeah. Checking my track record.
I'm talking about Gas, by the way.
Yeah. Checking my track record with what Dragon Ball Super usually decides to go with, I think they're probably going to keep doing what they've been doing. But as we've said, I love that we're all adults who have grown up with Dragon Ball, so all of our desires for the story is for it to mature and grow, but it just decides to stay the same.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it's doing it. It's starting. Like these last art, like they've been really pushing the envelope. So, and I really appreciate that. I mean, it wasn't happening at the beginning of Super, but I mean, what we've been saying, that like it still keeps on holding on to those formulas, which is fine. I mean, because I mean, at the end of the day, Dragon Ball basically popularized a lot of these formulas that we all complain about every single day. And that's why too. I mean, it is exciting when they start, pandering to other series as well. But I'm just glad that they are making strides and breaking from certain tropes that they've been keeping with for a while. So that's good, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous about Granola. I mean, because he only has 2 years left. Like, are they trying to establish him as a newer character, or is this going to be? I mean, I guess they could wish him back if they really wanted to. So I guess death isn't really a huge issue, but I mean, he has a time limit. Like I'm wondering what they're gonna do with Granola. Thanks, Steven.
You did
I'm wondering what's gonna happen there.
I really love Granola's character design, so I just want him to hang around because of that. He's got a nice color scheme, and I like his little AI eyepiece and all that.
Yeah, his sniper shot.
He feels very Dragon Quest.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Well, that's kind of the thing, too, is I wonder, like, we're literally just one sentence away from somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about in Dragon Ball Super from saying, like, oh, you guys have a planet with multiple Dragon Balls? Well, those will be way more powerful than they have 2 Dragon Balls on this planet?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, 2 Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, that wish could easily cancel out this and make it so Granola can, stay alive with this power, too. Like, and then we have the Super Dragon Balls, which outrank everything, too. So, yeah, there's several ways I could see Granola sticking around. But it'll be interesting to see. I don't really see a way on him being like, all right, well, I'm bored here. I guess I'll come live on Earth with you guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if he just kind of did his own thing and showed up every once in a while. That would be cool.
Yeah, which is the current standing with.
And then they go to his funeral when he inevitably dies.
Well, I'd hope so.
Heroic sacrifice at the end. That's how it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're kind of setting it up where kind of the same thing with Broly. Like, Broly's in that same bit, too, where he's just kind of on the back burner whenever they want to use him. Which I almost feel like this... What if this is like a Marvel movie sort of thing, where we're almost getting all these new characters and a new team for a big Universal arc or War arc or Gods and Mortals arc, which I would love. Like, that would be perfect. A perfect way to bring all these characters together for some huge battle like that. Another thing I've been very anxious for them to get back to was, again, when Whis just info drops everything about multiple universes and stuff, was I think that they essentially had like the top, I might be getting these numbers wrong, but they had the top 7 universes battle it out, and not the top. They had the lower ranking 7 universes battle in the Tournament of Power, but the top like 4 universes didn't have to take part in it. So I almost think that there's even stronger fighters in those universes and one of those universes could absolutely be the one who's just like, yeah, we're going to go to war and take over all the universes. Like, and then we have to. Yeah,
there's no indication of what Whis' mortal level even means. Like they talk about that, and the Zenos talk about that. But like, what is the mortal level of the universe mean?
Yeah.
What kind of system were we using to grade this? Because it doesn't necessarily mean that the people in those universes were good people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then when mortals harness the power of gods, what does that mean on the scale? Like is the power that Vegeta and Goku have unlocked in the recent chapters, could those match those top universes that didn't have to participate, or is it really just a numbers game where it's those top universes have entire planets filled with Gokus and Vegetas in terms of power ranking, whereas this universe only has 2. So yeah, I would love them to kind of dig into it, and I would really love if it became a conflict. Because then we can bring in all these fighters that we've introduced and really, let them go out. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, what if it was all introduced by like Jiren shows up barely alive? He's just like, oh, there's something coming.
Oh, that'd be gnarly. That'd be awesome.
Guys, I think we should apply to Shonen, and we'll tell Akira Toriyama how to do it.
Oh yeah, this is the new writers' room right here.
Yeah, right. It reminds me of that Tenacious D song. Dio, you're too old to rock. No more rocking for you. Let us give us a cape and a smaller, or give your scepter to us and a smaller one for KG.
We're making a new album, by the way.
Oh, dude, I am the biggest Tenacious fan you may ever meet. So yes.
Oh, I knew that. I knew that before you did.
I'm such a fan. I can tell who was fan. But yeah, Carlyle, any other thoughts on this chapter, man? I know you're kind of late, so I wasn't sure if there's some other thoughts or theories you had on it.
The only other thing I could think of that I wanted to hit on was this weird new power that Goku has. Do we think this is part of Ultra Instinct? Is it part of these angel abilities that he's getting?
Oh, his new
something
Susanoo?
new entirely?
Well, he did it against Moro also.
With the big thing?
Yeah, he turned it. Yeah,
It's
against.
been so long.
Oh, it's all right, man. Yeah, at the end when Moro like combined with the planet, Goku also it was the first time he did that against Moro. But yeah, this is only the second time he's ever done it, and even then they didn't really explain it. It just seemed like some sort of key he unlocked through Ultra Instinct or something like that. But
I got the impression that it was kind of like almost accidental, like it was just pure instinct that made him do it against Moro. But then in this one, he discovered that it was mixing Ultra Instinct with his emotions instead of canceling out his emotions and truly making it his. So that's what I think. That's what I think it is. But yeah, they didn't really explain it when he first did it against Moro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was saying earlier too, just like against Moro, it felt like, okay, this is kind of interesting, but cool. It kind of makes sense. And in this one, it just like happened. Oh,
I don't even remember it happening.
I have a mechanical keyboard, so it'll be loud if I look it up right now. But yeah, it was just if you look at the climax of the Moro arc, because it was like one of the last couple chapters before that one ended. But there's some great colored drawings of it and stuff too. Yeah, if you just type in Goku Susanoo, you'll probably get all the results. What chapters did Goku unlock Susanoo?
Wow, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't
really a long time ago.
We weren't recording Mega Manga Mondays back then, so that's probably why you guys don't remember it.
Right. Yeah. I feel like a huge spike in interest went up with in Dragon Ball at the end of the Moro saga, like right when we first got Granola. That's when I kind of saw a huge spike in it because everything about Moro, like that's what I was kind of able to go back and reread that and spit out some pitches. Yeah, we didn't really touch it until Granola came around. But no, it's a cool one. That's a really cool saga.
Oh my god, I typed it into Google and on Quora, the website that answers people's questions, does Goku get a Susanoo? Yes, Goku unlocks Susanoo when he activated Mangekyo Sharingan in both of his eyes. When Frieza killed Krillin, the trauma of losing his friend evolved his normal Sharingan into the Mangekyo Sharingan. Thus, Vegeta entrusted him with the pride of the Uchiha to defeat his greatest enemy, Frieza, with the Susanoo. Frieza's wood-style jutsu was useless against Goku, and Goku was able to defeat Frieza. That's how I remember Naruto Ball Z.
That's what I was thinking, like, what? Have I been reading the wrong translation?
Yeah, I refuse to look further into that because that's just gold already, so...
Yeah, I don't remember this at all.
Oh man, well now that the Moro arc is all done, yeah, absolutely recommend a reread.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I think they're making it into an anime
Oh,
when did they say, like 2023? Like, it's coming up.
see, I
soon.
keep on seeing like rumors and speculation, but I'm not sure if they've officially announced anything. But I definitely think
That's
they have
nothing.
enough now uh, to adapt it. I'm incredibly excited for the Moro arc to get animated, and there's even a couple parts in this arc that I'm excited to see animated. But yeah, I definitely feel like the Moro arc has been one of my favorites in Super so
Yeah.
far. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend, now that that's all said and done, go back and read that. That's a good one.
Wait,
Mhm.
so now I'm actually agreeing with something that you said earlier, and I did something that I didn't agree with because I didn't remember that this happened before. So I remember you were saying at one point, Jason, it's like why can't they explain what this power is? And I remember when I was saying like, wait, but this is the first time we've seen it. What's going on? But now it's like, yeah, if this power, we saw this power already fighting Moro, and there was a break between Morrow and the Granola arc. So it's like, why wasn't that touched upon again?
Mm-hmm.
That is very confusing. And
Yeah.
now I'm mad too. Now I'm like, why is it here again? And we don't know what it is. What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually now I'm frustrated.
Now
Thanks,
I'm
Jason, for
mad.
frustrating me.
Yeah, that's why I started this podcast to get manga fans angry. Um, but yeah, so I think that's a great point to stop the podcast with Steven being mad. Any more thoughts on Dragon Ball chapter 86 before we move into plugs and recommendations, my friends?
No. Yeah, no.
All
You
right.
got it.
All
I
I'm
right.
think we
mad
covered
now.
it. Yeah,
That's all I know.
yeah, we hit it.
I have to go exercise for 3 hours now.
Right.
All right, well, yeah, it's been a lot of fun on Mega Manga Mondays, Dragon Ball Super today. To kind of go into plugs and recommendations, I'm Jason Hahn. Please check out ScreenRant.com. All of my buddies here write a lot of great comic-related articles with manga, DC, Marvel, all kinds of stuff. Usually a lot of interesting comparison pieces and some introspective thoughts on them. So definitely check those out. I also have a YouTube channel called Honzy and Friends, where I play video games, stream, and stuff like that, usually with friends, trying to make some laughs and whatnot. Just finished playing some Overwatch 2 and going to be diving back into God of War on the PlayStation 5.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch that
Nice.
one.
Yeah, we're about halfway through on that one, and it is beautiful. But very
Yeah,
excited for the sequel.
it's actually one of the few games that I've sat down and watched like all of the cinematic scenes and like just watched the gameplay. Like I've never really, because I used to be a really big gamer, but then I stopped like once I had kids and stuff. But God of War, like that's one of those things where it's like the story and the art is beautiful. And what's funny because I didn't like the earlier God of War, like the whole Grecian stuff. But once
Yeah.
they got into this whole Norse mythology, it's like, oh, I am there. It's a great.
I think it's really they didn't change development teams, but they got like new directors and stuff like that. It just they've completely like shifted the focus to be way more cinematic and just so much more dramatic, and I love
Awesome.
it.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly excited for Ragnarok to come out later this year, and
Yeah.
we'll definitely be playing that on the channel as well. So
Like I don't even play it, and I'm like, I want it to come out.
all right. Well, yeah, that's Honzy and Friends on YouTube. I like to stream every Wednesday and Sunday, and even do a couple comedic Let's Play videos here and there. But oh, one last plug, of course, for this podcast, Mega Manga Mondays. If you are caught up on other series like One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, Boruto, we even started talking about Berserk because Berserk and Chainsaw Man has made a return, and we had a great time talking about that one too. But yeah, find Mega Manga Mondays on Spotify and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter at Manga Mondays. Steven, plugs, recommendations, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, I mean, I've said it on other podcasts, but I'm still loving the heck out of, and I'm sad that it's not more popular, Undead Unluck. I guess I'll just say that every single podcast. Just because like I just love how they're just the mangaka is just finding new fun ways to use powers as metaphors for various things that we in real life deal with. It's just really really fun, really creative. Hopefully it'll get an anime adaptation soon because it really deserves it. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I'm just still enjoying a lot of the series on Manga Plus or the Shonen Jump Plus app. It's basically it's a spin-off of Shonen Jump's main weekly flagship, where it's like a lot of this the series on it are either shonen that are too explicit for Shonen Jump, or they're more shoujo based, or they just come out less often. And I found that I've just found that a lot of the series on it are a lot more enjoyable than the ones that are actually on Shonen Jump. And actually too, I mean, Chainsaw
Currently.
Man is in Shonen Chainsaw Man Part 2 is actually on the Manga Plus, but it's just on the Shonen Jump website and app because it's so popular. I mean, same with Spy Family, Kaiju number 8, and Dandadan. Those are all Manga Plus or Shonen Jump Plus series. They're just so popular that Shonen Jump is running them on their app and website, just not in the magazine.
Yeah,
So,
I'm really curious on how they decide which is on what, because you say like the stuff that's a little too risque or too like gory is on Manga Plus, but then we
Yeah.
have like Chainsaw Man and One Punch Man on Shonen Jump. And I could show
Yeah.
you some panels from One Punch Man that I was just like, oh man, I don't want my 10-year-old seeing this. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
it's usually when they're really popular is when they bring it over, so it gets
Yeah.
even more exposure.
yeah, makes
But
sense.
I think that's why they because originally Fire Punch, which was the big series that Fujimoto of Chainsaw Man did before Chainsaw Man, Fire Punch was a Manga Plus, but because it ended up being so huge, they allowed Chainsaw Man to go on the weekly Shonen Jump.
Oh,
But
alright.
after now it's like we're gonna put you back on Shonen Jump Plus. It's like you're just a little too much. So, but yeah, I mean, like I've been trying to because I've been digging into because I've been writing a lot about Manga Plus lately. Trying to figure things out because it is very vague, and there's a lot of people trying to figure out well, why is the series there and why is this not? But it's like when you start digging in, it's like, oh, okay, it starts making sense a bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a big marketing thing and lots of money being thrown around. But Carlyle, any plugs or recommendations today, bud?
Yeah, you can always check out my Twitter's Elven Revenue Service, or Elven Revenue, I believe is just the Twitter handle, and that's for our visual novel that I've been working on. It's got a demo out and all that, so you can check that out. Recommendation: only thing I've been playing recently is Fire Emblem Three Hopes because I love Fire Emblem,
Hell yeah.
and this game fixed all of the problems that everybody had about the last game in terms of story. So it is pure fan service, and if you like Three Houses, you should definitely get it.
Awesome. And is that on the Switch?
Yeah, Switch.
Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people who are big Fire Emblem fans, and I've heard some things about that last one. So I'm glad you're enjoying the new one, man. And Spencer, how about you, man?
Hey, yeah, nothing too crazy. You just always check me out at Spencer Connolly, ScreenRant.com. Especially with Dragon Ball, I've been writing a lot of Dragon Ball articles. Most recently, going into the past all the way back to the original chapters and kind of working my way up. A couple I'm going to be working on today will include how Dragon Ball has its own version of Superman that is not Goku. I know there's a lot of comparisons between Superman and Goku, but there's a completely different character. And also Dragon Ball's own Rancor that would absolutely destroy Luke Skywalker. Maybe. So, I'll write it up and you can decide. And then, at the Spencerverse is my Twitter. You can reach out to me and check out the stuff.
If you're getting those articles going today or this weekend, I think this episode is probably going to be coming out on Monday. So they should be available to read. So go check those out, guys. Thanks for your time today, guys. It's been fun talking Dragon Ball Super, even if I didn't have a blast with the last chapter. But it is definitely a lot more fun talking about it with you guys. So thanks for your time, and I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Peace.